Welcome to The Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Hello, welcome to The Bold Book of the Day. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Our guest today is Stephanie Maley, author of the deeply moving memoir, No Longer That Girl, retracing the scars of past and present. This book was published by She Writes Press. In this courageous and beautiful written book, Stephanie opens up about her journey through abandonment, sexual abuse, and loss, and how she found her way towards forgiveness, towards faith, and self-love. Please welcome Stephanie Maley.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really looked forward to being with you today.
I know I've been looking forward to you coming too, because you have gone through some of the things that I've experienced: abandonment, abuse, and not loving yourself enough to know that you're enough because of the things that you've experienced. So please tell me, Stephanie, your memoir, which is No Longer That Girl, it is both raw and redemptive. What inspired you to finally write this book and share your story after so many years?
Yeah, because I did keep it quiet until I met my husband. He was really the only one I shared my story with. For me, it was around 2017 when the Me Too movement was getting traction, and being able to hear other women who were brave coming forward with their stories, because shame had just kept me quiet. I mean, it just kept me, mum's the word, because it was just so heavy. And so when I heard other women coming out and sharing their stories and thinking, I'm not alone, I didn't think I was, but I didn't really know. And so that really got the wheels going. I had wanted to write a book for many, many years, but I didn't know what it would be or when it would happen. But when that courage from these other women gave me the courage to, initially what I wrote is actually an autobiography. Mm-hmm. And I had already a professional editor. I had gone to Laura Munson's writing retreat in 2013. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to her and said, I really am ready to write and I need to get this out. And so she said, but if you write an autobiography, you're telling your story. It's going to be another book if you do a memoir. And I said, it's okay, because I need to get it out now. Now that, that part in my heart just opened up, like it's time. So I wrote an autobiography initially and just riffed, just told my story. I worked with her. I worked with a line editor locally who had a lot of newspaper experience. And I checked dates. I did fact checking. I did a lot of research trying to see, is my memory is accurate? I'm a visual learner. I have come to understand. I'm a professional photographer as well. So vision and images that I have as a young child in my memory, I was trying to check that out and verify it. So then COVID happened, and it first would put me in a tailspin, because I was also a pediatric nurse in acutely ill children in the hospital, and I knew how viruses would spread. And at the beginning, we didn't have any information, just the Italian people telling us, this is going to be you in 2 weeks, and all these people dying. And my husband is a rural pediatrician, and I just knew how it spreads. And I thought, he is exposed as a healthcare worker every day with not only the children who are sick or well visits, but their parents or family members. And so he is like extra exposed. And I panicked. I really panicked. And what it did is it brought up all that from my past and being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And I literally thought I needed to write my funeral plans. Mm. I knew it. It wasn't irrational. It was, this is it. I have asthma, and this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be one of those. And so that happened. as well as the opportunity as it went on and I started to feel safe again in my home. Once we came up with a plan for my husband, to put his clothes in the washer and dryer, to go take a shower, to wear a mask, for us to stay 6 feet apart. Once that was all established, then the time opened up, and I thought, okay, this is it's a very sad time, and it's a gift of time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty much how it kind of transpired.
Oh, wow. Thank you for saying, that it can also, you can have, two things can be true at the same time, as you were saying that it was a sad time, but yet it was a time that was given. It was
Yeah,
time that we didn't have.
right.
So a lot of things, hurt to just experience. A lot of families lost loved ones, a
Yeah,
lot of heavy emotions during that time, but it also brought us the gift of time, which we had somehow taken for granted, trying to pack
yeah,
all of the things into our schedule on a
yes,
daily basis, and whatever we couldn't do in 24 hours, we would pack it into the next week. So I do
absolutely.
understand that it was just a gift and a curse at the same time, because but that's how life is.
Yes,
I've always said that the same amount of good that is in something is the same amount of bad that you can find in that thing. And so good people can switch and show their bad side, and bad people can switch and show their good side,
yes,
because the way how, life is, you have equal amounts of the same finger. Look at the fingers, and it's the same on the
right.
back, same on the front. It's just, so thank you for bringing that out, because you were able to sit down and write something that gave you healing
It
that
did.
you didn't know you needed.
I didn't. It was like a whole nother level and layer
Yeah.
of, I thought, you know, it was just amazing. And it kept showing me that I could go back into that time, because in order to show that and make it a movie in writing instead of just tell you about it,
Mhm.
it of course put me right back to that age, to that little girl. And then I realized that, well, I'm not that little girl anymore. She's still in there. And now I can help her and say, "You're safe. I've got you. We got this." And so in that process, it was like, oh, wow, this is another level of healing, because I've been in talk therapy for years. And
Right.
that was very helpful as well. But it was doing the writing of it and creating those scenes again, which were hard, very hard. I mean, I'm like, I'm going to write a fiction next time. Oh my
That
gosh.
might be easier.
Yes, because
So
it's hard.
the title, it's really powerful, and now I can understand why it's no longer that girl. But tell the audience, what does that phrase mean to you personally?
So what it means to me is that I have a voice now, and I didn't have
Mhm.
a voice. I think there were a lot of circumstances in my as a young child where my birth father had left when I was 3 months old, and
Mhm.
abandoned my mom and my brother who was 2. And I think circumstances like that in my life made me especially vulnerable, and made me over loyal. And being a Southern girl, you're supposed to be kind and put others people's needs first.
Yes.
And so for no longer that girl, for me, it means that that's not ever going to happen again. And I have a voice, and I will use it, and I have used it. And so I love the title too. I initially had Not That Girl, and my
Yeah.
publishing team said, how about this? And I was like, yeah, that feels right too. I really like it. I really do. I can identify, it is perfect.
it tells a story immediately. That's what I love about it. No longer that girl. So for the person who is changing or feel like she need to explain her nose or her boundaries or her
Right.
standards, she's no longer that girl. And I love it. Now, you said that writing this book allowed you to hug your younger self.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It was, and again, it wasn't like procedural. It was just happening, and I was like, I could feel that little girl. I mean, I could feel it go right back there. And then, but then the adult self who is no longer that girl was able to come in and comfort and, like you say, hug her and just say, I'm sorry that happened, but that's not going to happen again.
Yes.
And again, I would have liked nothing more than just to write it home and send it out, which would have got, basically just self-published. But
Mhm.
it became clear that I wanted other people who may have had this experience, like yourself. I mean, if we're in a group of 2 or 3 people, I'm always going to be the person who's been sexually abused, but it is that rampant when there are 2 to 3 to 4 women together. Somebody in that group has been sexually molested and
Yes.
abused. And so that's why I wanted to write this, to maybe help other people to see what I did to get to where I am today, to have an incredible life.
No, even in us sitting, we're in this room together. Both you have been molested and I have been molested, and so it's even more prominent than we know,
Yes.
because 100% of the people in this room have been molested.
And you're
Wow,
right. Exactly. 100%.
wow.
And that's exactly, it's such a large number. And that, again, as you say, are people who've actually been able to say, I've been molested. I've been because again, that shame, and if you've been threatened, all of that keeps you quiet.
Yes, and in keeping quiet, then it's allowed to continue on,
Yes.
because people don't know what's going on, or if they know what's going on, they don't have the pressure to
Yeah.
end it, to stop it, to say something, because it's quiet.
Yeah.
But when we stand up for ourselves, and when we stand up for ourselves, it empowers others
Yeah.
to stand up for themselves, to
Yes.
say, I can do this. If Stephanie can do this, I can do this. If she can be who she is today, a pediatric nurse, an author, a wife, a mother, I can do that too. Because you will have arrested development when you have not moved through certain things, when you have not healed through certain things. And if it happens at a certain time, you will start to repeat yourself in that same era, doing all the same things
Absolutely.
that are painful or causes pain, but you'll find yourself repeating them because you don't even realize that you have arrested development and you're stuck in that era and time.
Exactly. You're right on it. I mean, you don't until, again, something like, for me, I had done the research but emotionally distant from the autobiography. But when COVID came and I found myself telling my therapist that I need to write my funeral plans, I am going to die. And then she's calling me, what is going on? And it just, all that stuff came right up. And if you don't address it, it will come. And usually not at a convenient time.
Yes. A lot of survivors, I know that for myself, because I was a hairstylist and I listened to a lot of women as I did their hair. And then I became a registered nurse and I listened to women at the bedside.
You're a nurse.
I'm a registered nurse. I'm a nurse practitioner, hospitalist now.
Are
And
you
I
serious? Oh my gosh.
Yes, and I was a pediatric nurse for years, so
So
we
we're
have a
like
lot in
twinsies.
common. Yes, we have a lot in common.
We
But
do.
my point is that many survivors, they find it very difficult to revisit their past.
Yeah.
What gave you the courage to do so?
I think that I had been building up to that moment. Like when I was young, I remember making these decisions. Like I remember being 8, and my mom had just remarried to my stepfather. He was a great dad. And she was setting out his clothes and running his water for him for a bathtub and I was like, I'm never going to do that. I'm
At
just
8.
not. I'm not. I was 8, and I'm like, that is not happening. And I think even at that young age, I recognized that I was born the wrong sex, not meaning that I wanted to be a guy. It's just that I recognized they had it a lot better in life. And, and I had kind of a leadership, I had leadership qualities, and I played sports, and those things were just not as they were looked on differently, and you wouldn't bat an eye, if it were a male person. So I think for me, I started just whatever awareness of trying to learn how to do things differently. And I love my mom, and unfortunately she died in January, and I was very close to my mom.
So sorry for your loss, Stephanie.
Thank
That's
you. It
still
is
fresh. It's not even a year yet.
It's not. And we just
Your
had
loss.
All Saints Day at our church, and I went through a lot of Kleenex. But anyway, I think I've always kind of been curious, and if I see something that doesn't feel right, then I want to understand it and try to just embrace it or learn or not do it or whatever. And so like I was attending parenting classes that our church offered when I was 16, just because I wanted to, learn something new. So I think years of reading self-helps and talk therapy, and when things really hit that peak with COVID and all these people dying from this really mysterious kind of thing, I don't think I could have not written the book. You know what I mean? I think I had to get it out, and I wanted to do it for other women. Like I said, I'd been happy as a lark just to write and, not have to be out and be in the public and things like that.
So what's one thing that survivors can take from this book to help themselves feel unstuck?
Oh, that's a really
get
good
unstuck,
question.
yes.
To get unstuck. Well, what I hope is that they'll at least look at professional help, to have somebody that, yes, you pay for it, but for me, and my experience has been really a positive one, to have somebody in there that is going to keep challenging me to look at these qualities or traits that I don't want anymore, and to understand how I got them, and to just help me process, or for the person to process. So I first say I hope that it's seen how much my therapist has been a real help for me. And that even if they don't want to publish a book, because there's a lot to that, then I would hope they would write for themselves.
Yes.
Just write, riff. Nobody's going to see it.
Yes.
Just your eyes only.
Yes. Because just writing it makes it even more real. And expressing your emotions give you an understanding of where you stand. So I remember when I started to write, it made me look at pain that I haven't even looked at, because I didn't think I was an angry person. So I never looked at why I was angry when I got angry, or what made me, so angry. I didn't look at those things. When I started to write, I can place these emotions. I can see why certain emotions did come up. Why did I get so sad and depressed at one point in my life? It's because I had these things buried. And so for people, some survivors, you're thinking that you're okay, because I've put it behind me. that put it behind you is festering. So get some healing. Write. Can
Yes.
be so helpful and so healing.
And that yeah, again, everything you said, exactly. I always had a lot of anger. And so for me, sports allowed me a socially acceptable way to get it out. Because again, as girls, we weren't supposed to be all that angry. I was very angry and I didn't understand it. And I scared myself sometimes, like
Yeah.
how angry I could get. And people
Me
wouldn't
too.
think, yeah, and people would, and you, I mean, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see that in someone, but boy, a trigger or whatever. And I wouldn't have any awareness of it, but I just, just a lot of anger. And it was just below the surface for me.
Yeah.
And again, if I played fast pitch softball, I was a catcher, I played basketball, I played volleyball, I played squash, I played pickleball, you name it. If it has a ball in it,
You're in there.
I'm in there and I can still play. But
Yes.
but that was a great way to get rid of the anger. And so when you write and when you take the time to say, okay, I think I've compartmentalized these emotions or those experiences. Maybe I haven't, and maybe I need to look at them. And just, again, I think writing is a great thing. And, and maybe start there for, and then maybe look into, a professional therapeutic relationship that can help uncover, maybe even more of that. So that's what I'm hoping. And that, again, you can just see what worked for me. It might not be the formula that works for you. And I didn't, of course, do it as a formulaic, but you can at least maybe see some things that are suggestions. And I don't write it like that, but you can still see what I did to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
A big part of our healing lies in our hands. And, the sooner we get brave enough to say we deserve healing, because a lot of times we just think that we don't even deserve. Who am I to talk about this? Who am I to see? I have life good. I have these things going on. Why should I seek help? You should seek help because you were injured. And in every injury, even the ones that you think they healed by themselves, when you look at them, they could take some professional help. And I know you mentioned that your therapist, your husband, and your faith is really what helped you to just gave you the support that you needed. How did each of those people or each of those things help you or played a role in your healing and bringing this book to life?
Well, my church or my faith, it's really my faith, but that my church is the place where I can express that. And it has always been really important to me. I never left, like a lot of people do. They go to college or whatever. They get out of their parents' home and they're like, yeah, I'm done with that. I didn't. And I attribute that to my priest who came in when I was 17. I go to the Episcopal Church, and he really got me so involved. I didn't have time to not be at church.
Yes.
And I think he saw, because my mother and my stepfather divorced when I was 15. So, but I had an experience when I was about maybe 9 or so, where I spent the night with a friend. A long story short, we were really close and they moved way out into the country, outskirts of Chattanooga. And I was spending the weekend, and I always go to church on Sundays. That's just what I did. And they weren't church-going people. And I had noticed this little church on the country road. And I just asked, could we go? And I begged my friend. And so she went with me. Her mom said, yeah, just come back, afterwards. And so we walked. It wasn't terribly far, but, it was away from the house. So we walked. It was a Baptist church, evidently. And we came in and everybody's talking. They're not like in a sanctuary. And I'm recognizing that. I just figured all churches started when mine did, as a little kid. And so she, like, I don't know any of these people. I'm going home. And she left. And I was like, man, I hadn't processed it. I was like, God, this doesn't count going to church, and it's just important to me. So I walked back because I don't know these people either. And I've obviously missed the service. I started going back, and I just felt so badly about, like, I let
church.
God down. Yeah. And they don't preach that at my church, but I just took it in that way. And I knelt on the road, on this little road, and I just said, I'm so sorry, God. Please forgive me. I didn't know that other churches had different times, and I missed this one, and I'm so sorry. And I had this experience I will never forget. And I felt God's hand on my shoulder telling me, it is okay. You are okay. I love you. And that, I'll never forget that. It was a gift when I needed it.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, yeah, my churches. So that's, even though I was groomed by an Episcopal seminarian when I was 14, somehow I was able to separate him from the church. I mean, nobody knew. Everybody thought he was wonderful and showed a lot of respect. And I kept questioning myself, if they think he's so great, but he's kissing me and he's touching me, and that, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I separated him somehow, because I've had a lot of friends who are Episcopal priests saying, why did you stay in the church?
Yeah.
And I think I was able to say that was him, and because I got so much, it was fun to be at church. I loved my youth group. It was just really great people. So covering the church part, I think it's always been there for me. When it wasn't, but I've just been able to just separate it.
Looked like you had created, after a while, a personal relationship with your creator. And so you could see that this person had some good characteristics and some bad ones, and it's painful and hurtful and wrong.
Yes.
And so I'm going to separate myself, and separate, not blame the church, not blame God, understanding that I have a relationship with God, and I see that there are good people, and I see his goodness in the way people are living, but this person has his flaws and he's wrong, and I'm going to separate it. So that was at a young age you were able to do that, but you still thought that you needed to be quiet. And could that be, that people pleasing tendency when you just don't want to hurt somebody, you just want to please everybody?
Exactly. Oh yeah. And if I didn't go, like he invited me to his ordination, for his graduation, and all of those things, and I didn't want to go at all.
Yeah.
But if I didn't, my mom was like, oh, y'all have such a great relationship. Yes, you can fly to, this other state to be there for that. And I thought to myself, I would have to deal with people more if I didn't go. I would have to try, and I don't like lying. And I would have to lie, because everybody would like, oh, I can't believe you're not going. It would be expected. And again, I just, everybody saw him in a different way than I did. And I just thought, I'll just keep quiet.
Can you imagine how many people were keeping quiet? They knew, or how many young persons were experiencing those things, but feeling like, if I am quiet, if I don't say anything about it, if I don't stir the pot, then it will go away. It will go away. Or because you don't want everyone looking at you. You don't want everyone thinking that you're the one. Meanwhile, it is the silence that is given the permission to for this to continue. Not blaming the victims or anyway, just saying that it's because they feel autonomous because of the silence.
Exactly. And an interesting thing has happened for me. I started a newsletter. I guess it's been a year or so. And in that newsletter, people from all over that I know, and I share a personal essay every couple of weeks. Well, when I shared more specifically about that episode, experience, not an episode, it was multiple, but one of the other people that I haven't talked to for probably almost 50 years reached out and said, I need to talk to you. And I mean, I haven't seen that person, but I had their email somehow. And I talked to this person, and she said, was it this man? And I said, yes. How do you know that? Well, just one time, and we had a large church, there was a lot of nooks and crannies, and he kissed her on her cheek, but it didn't feel right. And she had been clocking him, as I have, our whole lives. And she said it wasn't, that's all it was. And she told one of our youth leaders, and again, this was the 70s, and they're like, I think you might have misinterpreted. I thought, wow, you had your voice. I never did that.
Yeah.
But I said, you were molested.
Yes. That's it. Plain and simple.
You were molested.
And one thing I have done to empower women and young girls is to validate their feelings. You don't need anyone to tell you how what you experience feels, because she felt that it was wrong.
She did. And again, she has kept that all these years and clocked him, knew exactly where he was, followed where he was, as I have, and I was like, yeah, because I used to put down maybe in my mind my own molestation. And I have a lot of cohorts who have written memoirs with She Writes Press.
Yeah.
And I hear some of their stories, and you really can't just, it's whatever it meant to you, and whatever that experience was for you is bad enough. Even if you weren't raped every day from your dad or whatever, I mean, because I have
whatever you experience is, it
is. That's what I wanted her to know.
Yes.
And I told her that. I said that was being molested.
Yes.
Even if it was a one-time, a kiss on the cheek, it made you uncomfortable, and it was not invited. And so that was that.
And compounding that, she was a teenager. She was underage.
Oh, yes, she was underage.
So even if it was something that he felt that she's welcome in, she was underage, and it was inappropriate, and it was wrong.
Absolutely. All of those things.
If you are listening and you have experienced any kind of inappropriate touch, or any touch that you felt wrong, your feelings were right. It is wrong. And if you've never said anything about it, you can speak up, because guess what? You don't need any boundaries on speaking up. You are empowered when you feel empowered. So if you feel like this is a good time, then you can speak up and speak out.
I'm going to write that down. You have no boundaries for your voice. That's beautiful.
Thank you, because I didn't even know what I was saying.
No, it was right on. You have no boundaries when you use your voice.
Yeah, because sometimes they like to say, oh, there's the statutory or whatever time is up. No, sometimes some people are empowered the minute after, but some people are empowered 100 days after. And it doesn't matter how long you feel empowered.
Right.
Whenever you feel like speaking up, speak up.
And those are man-made laws anyway. I mean, that's, that's so, yeah, I love that. I'm quoting you as you have no boundaries when you use your voice for truth.
Exactly. Thank you so much for, validating what I'm thinking, because
Absolutely.
I remember being in a space where someone will say, when we hear, because I grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, and they're tough on young girls. And when a girl would say something happened, they'll say, "Well, why didn't you speak up?" Well, why don't you listen now? Now she's speaking up, so it doesn't matter what happened then. Now she's speaking up, so why don't we do something now?
Exactly. And we still have a long way to go with our voices as women.
Because men think that they have the power over women still. I don't know what initially initially made men think that they were greater than women and they're more empowered than women. And yes, you may be built differently and you can protect women, but you are no better than us and you don't have the right to tell us what to do,
Amen.
especially with our bodies.
Especially with our bodies. All of that, I'm so behind. I mean, and you've had to deal with more than I have as a Black woman. I mean, you've had to deal with stuff even I can't relate to. I mean, we have been, the thumb of oppression for far too long. And, it's not right. We need to change that.
We are changing it because
We
guess
are.
what? Look at us. Look at us women. We are empowered. We are authors. Authors, you have a responsibility as an author. You have a responsibility to encourage others to speak up.
Yeah.
You're giving them that freedom to speak up. So
Well,
look at us.
that's what and that's why
Yeah.
I did it. I mean, this is the book, and that is why I went to all of this trouble,
Yes.
because I want to help. I want to help people. But you asked me even about how my husband was a part of my healing, and I think the word that comes to my mind is that he was safe. He's always been safe. He's been safe from the day I met him. He has that's well, and kind and all the other attributes that he has, but for me, safe. I mean, I didn't even know what it would take for me to get married. My mom she'd been married 3 times, and one was my birth father and he left, and then my stepfather, and they got divorced. And I thought, I don't know what it's going to take. And I was actually had a trip. I was a pediatric nurse in the hospital, and I was going to take an 8-month leave of absence. I was sick of the dating scene, and I wanted to travel the world. And so I met him at that time.
He rescued you. He came right at the time. Girl, you don't need to take no 8 months off.
My mom, but you were just like my mom. She's like, please don't let her do this, da da da. And here he walked right in the door, and he was very different and unique, and I felt safe from day one. So that I've had his support. I don't have to work for that. And that was another thing I recognized in writing the book, is that I had been hustling for love out of, I think, the part of being abandoned from my birth father.
Yes.
And then there was this hustling. I want you to like me. I want to be likable. It's real important to me that you like me. And even if you don't treat me well, I am still going to be there for you, which I'm
not good. And you're not that girl anymore.
No. No, I am not.
Please, where can the listening audience, get a hold of your book and purchase and be a part of your tribe?
Oh, thank you for that. You can go actually anywhere. And today is my publication date. So it is officially
perfect timing.
It is. I know I was really excited that you and I were going to be today. You were going to be with me on this day.
Yes.
And so you can go anywhere online. You can Walmart, Barnes and Nobles, She Writes Press, Simon & Schuster, and of course, Amazon. But it's everywhere, and it's been a real privilege.
Oh, congratulations. This book is going to change lives. It's going to empower. It's going to give hope. So thank you for being obedient and writing this book. Guys, please go out there and support my friend and get this book. It is a wonderful book that will give you an opportunity to just see some of the things that people have experienced and to see how you can make a difference in other people's life just by, being empathetic about others' story. Okay, so go out there and get this book. It's available on Amazon. It's available everywhere. Just go out there and support and become a part of the tribe. No longer that girl. Okay.
Yeah. Let us all not be those girls anymore.
That's right.
Let's have our voice and make the change and the shift we need today in society and in our world.
Yes. You've given us a wonderful piece of literature, and I'm encouraging you guys to go out there and share it, because You never know whose lives will be changed after you gift them something like this. So go out there and share it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, don't go yet. I love to ask 3 questions to all my guests, so please stick around for that. Now, the first question is, what's a bold promise that you can share with the audience?
So, a bold promise is that in my book, I was as honest as I could be in my memory, and it's my story, and you can trust that. I think it's, in particular to my book, that I did the best I could with, again, my memory and with things that I have looked up and tried to research and that type of thing. And so you can trust that.
That's right. And what's a bold statement that you can give the audience that will cause a paradigm shift?
Okay, these are incredible questions. I would like to say that all of us are enough. All of us deserve love, and not looking away from each other. And there is always hope. There is darkness, and there is light. And you can always go to the light, no matter what you've been through in your life.
Yes, be drawn to the light.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you've done so much. You were a pediatric nurse. You don't do that anymore?
I don't. I actually burned out. I did 6 years of that, and then I was pregnant with our first son, and so I ended up home educating and professional photography. I went different directions.
Did you homeschool your children?
I did.
So we have a number of things in common.
Oh
Okay,
my
girl.
God, we're sisters.
So I didn't do the long haul. I only did 2 years of homeschooling, and it was one of the most beautiful experience I've had because I was able to spend so much time pouring into my children intentionally.
Yes.
Before it was like the school's job and I would just back up. But at this point, I thought, oh my goodness, it is my job to make sure they are educated, they are bright, they are brilliant. So
Yes.
intentionally, I had to just, pour into them. So it felt good to be
Isn't that
able
wonderful?
to do that.
It's an honor.
Yes.
It's hard. It's super hard. I actually did it all the way. Although when they got in their mid-teens, it was changing our relationship. It was, and so I was like, why don't you can go into the high school, or we'll do an online private school if you want.
Yes.
And they did. And then they also dual enrolled in a college and could take 2 classes for free. And that gave them the experience of being in a classroom.
Yeah.
But we were part of a lot of co-ops and things like that. And we had 100 families here who were home educating. So.
Oh my goodness. So you have done so much and been selfless, given to your children, given to your community. And now what's next? You're an author. You have to promote this book. You're going to be very busy. What's next? What's the bold move that you'd like to make in the future?
Well, one is actually volunteering. We have what's called Powerhouse for Kids here. And I've always kept thinking, I'm just so busy. I don't have time. Maybe down the road. I have felt more of a calling. And even one of the people in my newsletter challenged me for that. So I am looking, in the Powerhouse for Kids is a place when children have known they've been sexually abused. They are brought to, and it's all pediatrically done. And everything is done there with people specifically trained to handle that. Everything's videoed. This child never has to talk about it publicly, or be in the courtroom or anything like that.
Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of a big deal. I've been used to scheduling my own time as a professional photographer and all those things. And I also would like to write another book, but let's just say it's going to be fiction. This is hard. This is very hard.
Yes, but such important work. Thank you for doing the hard thing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for this time and your time. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I wish you all the best. And I'm going to be encouraging my audience to go out there and get the book. Guys, I have a special gift for each and every person that got every book that you listened to this year. So from January to December, I'm going to be putting out something. So listen out so that if you were able to get all of the books, I'm going to have a special prize for those persons. Okay. So
That's
go out
awesome.
there and be supportive. Okay. Bold Tribe, be
Well,
supportive.
awesome.
Thank you so much. If you're listening and you have a big idea or an experience that you would like to write about, and you're looking for help to write your book, maybe you feel confused, maybe you feel like, I don't know where to start. Maybe you just feel like, I don't know how to write this book without people judging me. Please send me an email or join my free writing community at the Writing Incubator Challenge. We'll teach you how to get your book idea out of your head and onto paper, and so that you can do that most important thing that God is calling you to do. Share a very impactful, hopeful message to the world. You never know whose life you'll change. So send me an email at authordnicholson@gmail.com or join our Writing Incubator class. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.